All right. Can we turn the chat back on so I can I want to answer questions. I'm going to turn the chat on so I can talk to you people. There we go. There it is. All right, now the chat's back on. All right. Ask you a few questions. Do you need an LLC for private label? So you can either do it as a sole proprietor or an LLC. I recommend doing an LLC. It's just safer and you're going to want to convert down the line anyway. So I would just start with an LLC. It doesn't cost a lot. Best way to find a manufacturer is on Alibaba. A lot of you people say that you want to use US manufacturers. Your minimum order quantities in the US are going to be too high. It just doesn't make sense. So I wouldn't recommend trying to find you. They're not going to answer you anyway. Trust me, message a few of them. They ain't going to answer. US manufacturers suck. What company for pictures? Honestly, just search Amazon photography, AMZ One Step. We don't use them anymore because they got too backlogged from all their people. So we're not currently using them, but they're decent ones. And the biggest thing is like look up their reviews and shit. Do you think you can make progress by starting with 2,000 to 4,000? It's really hard to launch private label with 2,000 to 4,000, bro. I'll be honest. How much does it cost to put your own spin on it? You usually don't have to pay much for. You might have to pay a mold fee, which is like $200, $250. It just kind of depends on what the product is and like what changes you're making. You might pay like an extra $1 to $5 a unit, depending on what it is. Best ad campaigns to run. So I recommend 5. So you're going to have a broad, a phrase, a product targeting, a category targeting, and an automatic. Those 5. How do taxes work? Depends on if you mean sales tax or like your like personal taxes. So Amazon will send you a 1099K, I believe, for your personal taxes. So you just have an accountant file that. I wouldn't recommend filing that on your own. But for sales tax, Amazon automatically remits sales tax, so you won't have to worry about that. How much do you need in capital for FBA? 5 to 10 grand. I mean, you can effectively launch a product with 5 grand. There's just so much variable in that because you're paying for, what are you paying for? So product, shipping, and the listing, and also software. So there's 4 things that you're paying for that. How do you determine pricing of the item? I would recommend looking at other products in that category. I usually like to be on the higher end. That's just me. Everything I showed in here was FBA, not FBM. FBM is fulfilled by merchant, which means that means that you're shipping that shit yourself, or you're having a 3PL do it. 3PL is just someone that ships for you. It's third-party logistics. What do you do if profit margin is bad? Don't sell it. Don't sell a product with. I mean, that's like starting a company when you know it's going to fail. Like having a bad profit margin is just not a good idea. Can you sell in the US if you live in another country? Yeah, you can. When selling a product, how do you modify a product when you don't have the tools to do so? So you're not modifying yourself. You're going to have the manufacturer do it. So you can just give them a concept and they'll make it. You don't need to like build it yourself or anything. Is there a size limit? So Amazon has different categories. So like you have like small, and then it goes all the way up to like oversized. Oversized products are going to be more expensive to ship. That's the biggest factor. Is like the bigger and more heavy a product is, the more expensive it is to ship. You recommend Amazon shipping plan? You have to use Amazon shipping plan in order to send into Amazon. You don't really have a choice on that. How do you change the product? Look at reviews, dude. I mean, that's kind of the best way to do it. So if you guys have any other questions for me, if you haven't booked a call, what questions do you have based on why you haven't? What does Hormozy say? Alex Hormozy said something on that. All of your information. The reason you haven't done it is because you lack information. All the information that you're going to get is from me. So what information are you missing? I think is how he said it. How is it different selling in Canada? Canada's about 1/40th of the selling size. So the biggest thing with Canada is you're going to hit. I also don't recommend they don't. It just kind of depends. You have to do product research for Canada if you're going to do it. How do you ship through Prime? You just create a shipping plan and it'll send to them. They'll give you a label. Smaller or large products? Kind of depends. I don't really think there's an answer to that. I don't think you should aim for smaller or large products. It's just the product that makes sense based on like all the metrics I talked about. It doesn't really matter if it's large or small. You just have to make sure the margin works if the shipping price is going to change. You're probably being a pussy, I'm going to be honest. If your workload is a lot at your job, it's probably not as much as you think. Like you could set aside an hour a day. I don't know why you guys couldn't do that, but hour a day, I wouldn't leave your job to start Amazon. I think that's a bad idea. How much money did I start with? I think I had $4,400. I spent like $2,500 on my first 3 product launches. Now, again, these were bad products, and like my landed cost for these was like $1 each. And I also ordered 500 units of each. So again, I wouldn't use what I spent as a good metric for that because I did a lot of things wrong. You guys have any other questions for Daddy? Can we have a list of reliable suppliers? You don't need one because it's going to depend on what you're selling. So like even if I gave you a list, they might not make what you are trying to manufacture. So the best way to handle that is to just look up on Alibaba, just type in whatever it is you're trying to sell, and it'll have like reviews and everything for the manufacturers. You don't really need to overcomplicate it in that aspect. Unless you're talking about like wholesale suppliers. I don't do wholesale, so can't help you there. Do I use opportunity score on Jungle Scout? No, I do not. Although it is kind of like a decent thing to look at for how impacted a category is. So not bad to look at in that sense, but for the most part, I don't really care as long as it meets all my other criteria. I don't really care. How do you boost clicks and sales on your product? That's going to be primarily through organic ranking. So the way that you rank on Amazon is what people type in versus what they buy. So like if they type in black backpack and they buy your product, you're going to now rank slightly higher for that keyword. The more people do it. So the best thing that can happen is people click on your product, buy it, and then give you a 5-star review, because Amazon values customer feedback very highly as of, when did they make that update? 2022, I think. So the more positive feedback you get on a product, and also like the more clicks and conversions you get, the higher you're going to rank, the more basically free traffic you're going to get. So I would, it just takes time. Like, you got to understand that a lot of people have been selling longer than you, so it just takes time to rank. And you mainly need reviews. Reviews get sales, sales get rank. How do you get reviews? I'm not telling you to do this, but a lot of people utilize friends and family for reviews. I'm not saying that's against terms of service, so you shouldn't do it, but a lot of people do. I don't recommend using like review groups. I think it's a good way to get banned. Also, Amazon has a program called Amazon Vine. You do have to have a submitted trademark for that. Again, easy to do, but Amazon Vine allows you to get 30 reviews through the like people who are like approved reviewers on Amazon. So not a bad idea to utilize that. They're not guaranteed 5 stars, so keep that in mind. If your product quality is bad, you're going to know pretty quickly, because the Vine people will shit on it. But I would expect to get about a 4.5 star rating if you use Vine. Vine also costs money, so keep that in mind. I do recommend using Vine. I didn't used to, but I do now, just because I didn't used to recommend using Vine, but Vine's kind of a good idea now. I feel like the Vine reviewers got softer. They don't go super hard anymore. They used to fucking think that they were Michelin star reviewers and leave 1 stars on everything if they didn't like the color of it. Any other questions for me? Let me pull up the that's everything that's included in our program. Feel free to book a call or don't. It's up to you. But it's the link in the chat. It should be pinned. If you guys have like at least like $7,000 to $10,000, that's about how much it would take. So to get coaching and launch product. So it's in the chat. Or should be. Yeah, it's the pinned thing in the chat. Is 5,000 to 10,000 for one product. What happens if your product fails? Then your product fails, bro. I mean, yeah, 5 to 10 would be one. Theoretically, you probably launch 2 for 10 grand, but It just depends. Should I launch first product as a new? So you're making a new product, right? You're not going to launch on someone else's listing. That's not what private label is. Private label is you're making your own brand and you're making a new listing. So you're not going to hop on someone else's listing. You can't do that. Can you talk more about ads, costs, and how you run them? So Amazon's pay-per-click model. So you pay only when people click on your ad. You don't make like your own photos and shit. That's not how you do it. Literally just sponsor based on search keywords. So you can run ads for anything that's relevant to your product. If your product's a black backpack, you can run for backpack, black backpack, school backpack, whatever it is, right? Like, and then whenever people type in those things, it shows up for those keywords. What's the better plan to start with, individual or professional? Always start with professional. If you're going to sell as an individual, there's no point. It makes literally no sense to sell on Amazon as an individual. Always choose the professional plan. It's $39 a month. How do you contact the merchant? I'm assuming you mean on Alibaba. You just hit message. There's a message button on there. You can literally just message them. I don't know anything about selling in Netherlands. I sell right now in US, UK, Canada. We tried Australia. We tried Japan. Neither of them did well. I don't know anything about Netherlands, but I mean, you could always just sell in the US, which would be what I recommend. Oh, we also sell in Mexico, but Mexico's a pretty small market too. Does Amazon apply UPC codes? Yes. So like all those little scannable codes on products, Amazon will apply those for you. Your manufacturer will also do that for you. So I would recommend having the manufacturer do it because usually they won't charge you. Amazon will charge you 30 cents a unit. So I would recommend just having the manufacturer do it. It's a lot better. Should I ship it to myself and then ship it to Amazon? No. Fuck no. I did that. Don't do that, dude. I had a fucking shitload of boxes in my house, and it wastes money because then you're shipping it twice. So ship it directly from manufacturer to Amazon. All you have to do is create a shipping plan on Amazon, send it to your manufacturer. They'll do the rest. It's a lot easier than you might think. How to execute selecting a product. Should I use Helium 10 and Jungle Scout or just purchase one? Yeah, just choose one. I like Jungle Scout more personally, especially when you're first starting out. I think Jungle Scout's a better platform in the beginning. I think Helium 10 is better at scale, but in the beginning, I think you should just go. I think the plan's $40 a month. That's all you need for the plan, the $40 a month one. Just choose one. Do you have to go through all the legal documentary in FBA like you do in private label? FBA and private label are pretty much the same thing. FBA just means fulfilled by Amazon. So like if you're doing wholesale, it's probably still FBA as well. But I don't know what you mean by legal documentation. Best way to increase conversion rate: better photos, better product, better reviews. Those are going to be the three main ones. Also better title. Title helps a lot too, surprisingly. But main one's going to be your photos and your reviews. All right, I'm going to open chat again so you guys can ask more questions. Jesus, don't spam, please. I hate it when you guys spam. When do you stop restocking a product? You really don't. I mean, theoretically, if it keeps selling, you would just keep going. I mean, you can apply for a GTIN exemption whenever you want. You don't need to do anything. You literally just, when you're making a listing, you can just click GTIN exemption. Whenever I don't feel like pulling up a UPC code, I do that. It doesn't affect anything. Also, make sure you get your product inspected. That's a good point. That's a good question. Make sure you get your product inspected. It helps a lot because manufacturers aren't always super trustworthy. So get your product inspected. It does cost money, but it will save you a lot of headache in the future. You can do that through Alibaba. It also makes it trade assured, so if anything goes wrong, you don't get screwed. Probably like 15% of our coaching students are in Canada. So yeah, it's the same. The platform's the same no matter what country you're in. The steps are the same no matter what country you're in. The only thing that changes is just the product research aspect. Can you sell Amazon US when in Canada? So it's actually Amazon North America. So you can sell Canada, US, and Mexico. Have you ever used AGL? I don't know what that is. So you can use a business credit card. I think you should put everything on a business credit card or a credit card in general. Just make sure you have the money to pay it off. Don't open a business credit card just to take on debt and not be able to pay it off. Do you take crypto as payment? I prefer not to, but we could if that's the money that you have. That's fine. I was selling 150 units a day and ran out of stock. Now can barely sell 20. My ads aren't converting nearly the same. It could be either that product changed or also pretty much everything's seasonal. Just because it's like, you think of like snow gloves or some shit as seasonal. Yes, those are obviously seasonal, but pretty much every product has seasonality. So if you were selling 150 units a day in Q4 and now you're only selling 20, that could just mean it's a 150 unit product a day during Q4 and a 20 unit a day product during the rest of the year. So it might not be anything you did wrong. It's just the product changes or the market changed. Selling products that are like more competitive, I don't really recommend as like a first product just because it can kind of lead to more issues. I would choose something that has like a lower competition score. But I'm gonna hop off here because it's 1:20 in the morning. I'm in London. So thank you guys for coming. If you guys want to book a call, feel free. Don't do it unless you have at least like 10 grand to start because that's how much you need to effectively launch shit on Amazon. But yeah, the product link or the linked coaching's in the chat. Feel free to use it or don't. But yeah, if you guys need anything else, just ask it on TikTok and I'll keep making videos as usual. Stop sharing. All right. I will see you guys later.